Hello there! No studio out there loves milking their products more than Disney. Whether it's re-releasing one of their biggest blockbusters in 3D or producing sequels of things that don't need sequels, the Mouse House will try to cash in on anything. That's what the whole vault policy is about, just releasing and reissuing in such a way to get the most possible money from consumers. However, there is one Disney product not likely to leave the vault anytime soon. I'm talking about the controversial 1946 feature that is Song of the South. This is easily the most infamous production to come out of Disney, mainly because they won't let it come out. But why are they so afraid of releasing it to the public? Let's take a look and decide for ourselves whether they should release it or not. The Adventures of Brer Rabbit and Uncle Remus were written by Joel Chandler Harris in the late 1800s as they detail the whimsical stories of a clever rabbit as told by a kindly former slave. These stories were incredibly popular at the turn of the century, and so it came as no surprise that Walt Disney was interested in adapting them into a feature film. The film would combine live-action footage of Uncle Remus and the young children who would tell his stories to, with animated segments of Brer Rabbit's adventures. For the role of Remus, Walt Disney cast James Baskett, who is a large part of the film's success in my opinion. He brings the right whimsy and kindness to Uncle Remus and is the heart of Song of the South in many ways. He drives the stories along and represents the positive message that the film gives. His relationship with Johnny, played by Bobby Driscoll, is believable and helps the message along further. Remus is not seen as a different race in his eyes, but a friendly man telling some fun stories. That's a large part of why I don't think Song of the South is racist, since the friendship between Johnny and Remus is not based on skin color, but because the two of them have a mutual respect for one another with similar interests. People have criticized Song of the South as being a fantasy with its depiction of happy former slaves on a plantation, and that is a good point, but we're only looking at one plantation. For all we know, down the road is one where former slaves are treated horribly. Anyway, Walt Disney was so impressed with Baskett's performance, he tried to get him a deserving Academy Award nomination. And even though that didn't happen, Baskett still was given an honorary award for his depiction of Remus. Next to Baskett's performance, the most well-remembered aspect of Song of the South is the animated segments directed by Wilfred Jackson. Relating to the live-action scenes, these sequences bring to life Remus's stories and do a fantastic job of doing so. Each bit involves Brer Rabbit trying to outsmart Brer Bear and Brer Fox, who try to eat him on multiple occasions, with segments also featuring the three most iconic songs of the film. The first story, involving Brer Rabbit leaving the Brer Patch, only to be confronted by Brer Bear and Brer Fox. This is classic Disney with excellent animation and no perfect comedic timing, and introduces Brer Rabbit as a mischievous but likable character. Here is also where we encounter the one sequence that Disney feels comfortable releasing, bringing us into the animated world with the Oscar-winning song, Zip-a-dee-doo-dah. Whether you've seen Song of the South or not, you have definitely heard this song, and is one of the most famous songs to come out of the Mouse House. The second segment is another attempt to catch Brer Rabbit, which leads him into a sticky situation, but he ultimately gets out of it with his clever ways. Again, we get another classic song called How Do You Do? And then the final story has Brer Rabbit going to his laughing place to outsmart Brer Bear and Brer Fox, leading to another famous tune. These animated sequences are also impressive for how they seemingly integrate Uncle Remus into the world. These scenes probably looked amazing in 1946 and still hold up incredibly well today. Right from the start, there was controversy surrounding Song of the South, with the NAACP being against the depiction of the African-American characters in the film, though they did praise it on an artistic level. However, today the organization has no official stance on it. Film critics didn't give it particularly positive reviews, though Song of the South still proved to be quite successful at the box office and reissued many times throughout the years, with the final release being in 1986, the last time it was officially seen in North America. The only countries that saw a home video release were in Europe, Asia, and South America. However, there still has not been an official DVD release anywhere in the world. In 1989, Splash Mountain opened at Disneyland and became one of the most popular attractions in the parks. It's a typical log flume ride, which allows the guests to ride through the stories of Brer Rabbit. Yet, despite being one of the most beloved rides in the Disney parks, Disney has not seen fit to release the film on DVD to the general public. Bob Iger is asked at every single Disney shareholders meeting whether Song of the South will see the light of day again, and he keeps saying feels the time is not right yet to give it a DVD release. However, looking at the film, I don't think it's racist. I understand that Iger and the rest of the Walt Disney Company are scared of the complaints they'll receive because, here's the thing. Nowadays, people seem to think that the terms stereotype and racism are one and the same. They're not. A stereotype is when an individual characteristic is attributed to a whole group of people. Racism is the hatred for another group based on their skin color, nationality, religion, or what have you. That's not to say somebody won't attribute a negative stereotype on a certain race, but that's not the case with Song in the South. Remus and the other African-American characters are portrayed in a positive light, and Remus especially aids in teaching good and worthwhile lessons to Johnny. The only characters given a negative depiction are the two bullies who mess about with Johnny, who are both white. Is Song in the South stereotypical in its depiction of Uncle Remus? Sure, but there's nothing racist in how they portray him. Let's look at a couple of other Disney films as examples. One of the most controversial scenes in Peter Pan is the What Makes a Red Man Red song with the natives on Neverland. Is its depiction of them stereotypical? Absolutely, but they're not shown negatively. Neverland is also supposed to represent a child's imagination, and most children do play cowboys and Indians by portraying them that way. Let's look at another controversial film, Dumbo. Most of the characters in Dumbo are terrible and small-minded. The only good characters are Dumbo, Dumbo's mother, Timothy Mouse, the stork, and the crows. The crows are certainly African-American stereotypes, but help in raising Dumbo's self-esteem and turning him into that star elephant by the end of the film. It seems the two terms get blurred quite a bit, so films that are not racist in the least are accused of being as such. If you want to see some truly offensive material, look no further than what the Warner Brothers animation studio were making at that time. That's not to say Disney was completely innocent, as their depictions of the Japanese during World War II were just as offensive as the ones in the Looney Tunes and Fleischer cartoons of the era. However, those cartoons are still available today, with Warner doing an excellent job of releasing them uncut on DVD. And even Disney managed to do that with their Treasures box sets. In fact, why doesn't Disney release it on their Treasures line? Have Leonard Maltin introduce the film to put it in historical context like he did with the Donald Duck World War II propaganda cartoons. Unfortunately, it's too late for that because rumor has it they have ended that DVD line. Another alternative, if they don't want the Disney logo to appear next to Song in the South, they could have Criterion release it. If you're not familiar with Criterion, they usually put out films on disc that aren't likely to get special edition treatment from other home video distributors. So Song in the South is actually perfect for them. In my opinion, if Disney still doesn't have the guts to give it an official release, the only other option Disney has is to do an exclusive DVD for their rewards program. Nonetheless, I think they should release Song in the South on a widely distributed DVD and Blu-ray. It's a charming and well-made picture with some of the best animation produced from the studio during Walt's heyday and an important historical artifact. It even makes me wonder how famous Song in the South would be if it didn't have this forbidden fruit quality surrounding it. Would it have been a beloved studio title like Mary Poppins, Tron, or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or would it be forgotten like That Darn Cat and Rascal? In any case, if you manage to find a copy of it anytime, give it a watch and decide for yourself whether it's racist or not. See you next time, and have a zip-a-dee-doo-dah day.